Now let's get down to the reason I created this surface, right? So I mentioned that we're going to create kind of like a scissor, right? It's cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting so that I can fold it like a piece of paper. Um, this is just a reference surface. So to make it clearer, I'm going to put it on a different layer. You don't have to, but I am for your sake. So anyway, what I'm going to do with this thing is kind of very tactily just spin it around in space and start to fold it. So that looks kind of like this. If I place it on the corner, so I'm going to go in the top view and kind of move it down like this, rotate it 30 to, well, I'll just kind of go like this and sort of knock off a corner like that. Okay, so here's something that's very important about the split command. The split command will have to be a fully encompassed cut across the entirety of the surface. So when I activate split, it's going to ask me for the object that I want to split, which would be the original surface, and then the cutting object, which is my cut plane. And so that, when I move this out of the way, created a division in that surface, which gives me this triangle and this polygon. Now the wrong way to do it, also just a side note, you guys can tell whether or not a surface is split by the fact that if you have two that are on top of one another, you'll see a line rather than just, you know, two colors blending together. So what won't work is if I pull it back like this and it doesn't go all the way across that surface, it can't calculate the extension of the split. It'll only try and split what there actually is. So the message you'll get is this split by that, and it'll say split failed, objects may not intersect, or intersections may not split object. So that's why you have to go in like this, split, select the gray surface, select the red surface, and hit enter. So I turn the red surface off so that you can see why I'm doing this. The fold, right? The fold is very, very important. So if you guys recall, Rotate3D, I'm going to basically just grab this triangle when it says select the objects to rotate and hit enter. And if I go from one point, which is that side of the cut, to the new point on the other side of the cut, I can, you know, even though it's not actually a right angle, whoops, sorry, select this again, go from here to there, and even though that's not actually a right angle, the smart track will pull it back so that it reaches that angle. So I'll click at the end point, and then I can start to very, very intuitively just rotate this thing up like I'm folding a piece of paper. Okay, so that's not new to anyone. We've done this before when we reassembled our punched box. So now our objective here is to create an undulating surface. So undulating meaning it goes up and down across the terrain of the surface or datum. So with that line, we can go through a series of folding objects back, but know that the rest of this now on the opposite side, I want it to go up. So I can choose to split my surface before I fold it up, or do a whole bunch of splits and then start folding. That part's up to you. I think what I kind of want to do is just split a whole bunch of them. So I'm going to kind of turn this outward to there and split again. Grab it, move it here, and I'll turn it some more the opposite direction. Select this, hit enter there, and then I'll do one more. Split, select that, and then the red one, not that. Hit enter. So then my method here in folding it, because I know that's the pattern I want cut when it's unrolled, is to select all of these surfaces before I begin to rotate it out. So then I can do my Rotate3D, go from this point to that point. Whoops, that's not what I want. Rotate3D, start of rotation axis, here to there. Kind of go up a little bit like that. So now I'm working fully in 3D. Grab the last three, go from one endpoint to another. I can rotate it some more, going back down. So this should be giving you a really strong sense of how you can begin to create very intriguing surfaces in a very quick manner when you're doing rapid prototyping. So by rapid prototyping, I mean that it only takes a couple minutes to get 4 or 5 different versions of folded planes in a digital environment. And you could do this very, very quickly and get a whole bunch of configurations. All right, so on that particular part of this subject, what questions do you have? None? Right, so nothing new, right? But it's an entirely different sort of configuration. So, all right, so I want to see you guys get to this point before I move on to the next stages of this assignment. So I'll be around.